England had a tough afternoon ahead of them in a match against Wales at Twickenham. Triple Crown winners last season, the Welsh looked a great side on paper, hard and skillful as ever, but well aware that on this ground, success generally eludes them. A Pathé cameraman on the line for ultra close-ups was unofficially fouled. Centre D.K. Jones had the England defence at 6s and 7s. Jones to Alan Post, and he scored a great try.
The 60s will probably be remembered for the great All Blacks teams. On their 1963-64 tour, only Scotland prevented them recording a clean sweep. In 1965, New Zealand demanded that Maoris be included in future tours. They cancelled the forthcoming tour of South Africa. This was a watershed in the history of apartheid in rugby. In 1966, the Lions travelled to New Zealand to play for and lose for.
This same side under Brian Lahore toured Britain in 1967 and remained undefeated. They demolished England 23-11.
Meade's got that ball nicely. Curtin took his eye off it. This is Rogers trying to give it to Taylor, but he hasn't. It's taken by Williams. Here's this Wellington flanker. Almost up to the England 25. McRae joining in, number 13, dribbling on. And this is Meade's up there as well. Williams is there, number 6, and it's a try for Birtwistle. A sudden breakaway there, and Birtwistle has scored to put the New Zealanders ahead by 8 points to 0.
Then Scotland 14-3.
Again Lahore, this is Meade's on the charge. Grant goes down, but this is Gray, the prop forward, over the 25, beautifully out to McRae. McRae, I think, must score, and he has. A magnificent try for McRae. Well tackled by
Only the Barbars came close to defeating them, eventually going down 11-6.
Race here. Dick's going to have to be quick. It may be a score, and it is by Lloyd. Lloyd has scored to put the Barbarians ahead by 6 points to 3. Wilson on his own 25. Doesn't find touch. Brian Lahore, he's got the man outside him. There he is, it's Curtin. Tony Steele is going to score. It's a wonderful try, and the New Zealanders have saved their unbeaten record. That was a brilliant counter-attack. The kicker, McCormick. And a great ovation for the All Blacks and for Tony Steele for this dramatic pullback from seeming defeat. McCormick, and that one's dead in the middle. The referee's whistle goes for no side, and the All Blacks have won a really magnificent victory because they were 6 points to 3 down with only about 6 or 7 minutes to go.
The French team of this era were the only Five Nations side who could live with the Welsh, and in 1967 they won the championship, and in '68 finally the Grand Slam. Ironically, this team was a forward-based unit without the flair and style of the previous eras.
In 1968, the Lions went down again in South Africa, losing 3 and drawing 1. But as we move into the 70s, we find an era when Northern Hemisphere rugby would once more be respected throughout the world. This was due in the main to another of the great sides, the Welsh team of the 70s.
Between '69 and '79, the Welsh won 3 Grand Slams, 6 outright championships and 6 Triple Crowns. In 1969, the Welsh team won the Five Nations. Memorably, Richards scored 4 against the English.
So it was 3-3 at half-time, with England playing into the wind on the resumption. They'd lost the advantage in the first half. Wales on the attack again. England weren't getting a look in. The Triple Crown and the International Championship came closer and closer as the Welsh lads opened up their lead even more. John added another 3 points. 14-3, and the crowd wild with excitement as the home team pulverized the visitors. Richard collected and headed for the line. It was all Wales. England had no reply to the bulldozing drive of the great Welsh side. Richard had scored yet again. England had gleaned another penalty, but Wales were ahead 25 points to 6, and they weren't finished yet. Magnificent Richards added another 3. With a conversion, it brought the Welsh score to 30. England put on 3 more penalty points, but they were small consolation.
This Five Nations featured a victory for England against France and one of the great tries of that era.
Demonstrators faced a cordon of security staff as they prepared to greet the incoming Springbok rugby touring team from South Africa. The apartheid policy of South Africa includes all forms of sport, preventing black and white from playing together.
In Britain in 1969-1970, anti-apartheid demonstration reached new levels.
Like a welcoming group of fellow countrymen, the atmosphere at the airport was strained. The Springboks captain commented that they'd come to play rugby and not worry about politics. A spokesman for the demonstrators said he was sure that the South Africans knew they were going to be hounded everywhere they went. 25 matches are scheduled for the tour.
And hounded they were. To Twickenham, the 5th of November against Oxford University, and a massive police presence.
The Springboks' first venue had been kept secret until the last minute, but when they arrived to play Oxford University, the demonstrators were ready. The teams ran out to a mixed response. Cheers from the rugby enthusiasts, boos and whistles from the demonstrators. But a line of 200 policemen, plus a steel fence, prevented any active interruptions. The game got underway. Oxford were beginning to pile on the pressure, and the South Africans were looking harassed. The famed Springboks were in trouble. Scrum time again, on and off the field. Now Oxford were going all out. Again, Heel kicked an easy goal. 6-3 to Oxford. The one demonstrator who managed to get on the pitch didn't fool anyone. As the second half got underway, it was obvious this was Oxford's game. The mighty Springboks were on the run. The day was Oxford, but the tour continued. Anti-apartheid demonstrators turned out in strength on the eve of the Scotland versus South Africa Rugby Union International. Police were out in strength around the ground to repel anti-apartheid pitch invaders. They made it plain that they were determined to do so. Back on the field, the no-score deadlock was broken by Visagi. The break in play was time for repairs all round. After the match, protesters demanded a public inquiry into police behaviour. But so far as the men on the field were concerned, there was a game to play. In the 75th minute, fullback Ian Smith proved his worth as a new cap when he burst into the line with perfect timing and went over. It was a great effort which won Scotland the match 6 points to 3. After the final whistle, police swarmed onto the pitch. The Springboks tour is certainly bugged with trouble. Next month, they're scheduled to play Ireland. Already there are ominous signs of trouble brewing there.
Minute to go to half-time. South Africa leading by a goal and a penalty goal to 0.
The Springboks struggled to find their form on the tour, obviously unhappy and distracted by their reception.
Bob Taylor broke, but was unlucky. He slipped. This is Shackleton, tackled by Bates. Get it inside to Starler Smith. Over the 25. This is Bucknell. A great move by England. Laughter to Fairbrother. Laughter must score. 8 points to 6. South Africa lead. 2 yards from the Springboks line. Laughter beaten to it there by Devet. It's a try for England. The ball going loose. John Pullen picks up and goes over to score with Bob Taylor alongside him. Bob Hiller with the conversion attempt. Bob Hiller then.
They lost to England 11-8 and only drew with the Irish. It was probably only in the last 2 games of the tour that they showed what they were capable of. They drew with a strong Welsh side on a typical Welsh afternoon.
Now Dupree are trying to work it clear. David de Villiers, a chance here, and it's a try for no miss. That's into the space. There's a chance for Ian Hall. Down goes no miss. This is 10 yards out from the South African line. Fed out by Barry Llewellyn. What a chance for Gareth Edwards!
And in the final game, and probably the best of the tour, they beat the Barbars.
Gareth Edwards using the narrow side, out to Duckham. My goodness, can't he move? Duckham inside H.O. de Villiers. This could be one of the tries of the season. De Villiers, lawless. Here's no miss on the overlap. Inside Jeffrey. Knocked over by Mervyn Davis. This is Jennings. De Villiers. This is great stuff, De Villiers, and a wonderful try for Ellis. Stuart Gallagher got up well there. Edwards to John. Gibson, Spencer. Williams in the line. Spencer is through to the 25. There must be a chance for Alan Duggan. This is Duggan. What a score. It's Gareth Edwards to Barry John. Mike Gibson. Tackled by Roux. Booted on by Mike Lawless. Back goes John on his own 25. Tackled by Fundermerva. This is trailing. A great chance for the Stellenbosch Express. Fundervaart. What a try. This is Ellis from Jennings over the 25. He's got de Klerk inside him. But what a wonderful score by Jean Ellis.
The riots during the British tour and again during the South African series in Australia in 1971 made future tours all but impossible. Later that same year, South Africa conceded and allowed 3 Maoris and a Samoan into the country, but as honorary whites. The coloured players had a point to prove and played accordingly.